We've got a craft talk, I think. Bryn, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, there you are. I'm sorry. I'm
That's
looking
all
at
right.
all these people. Well, I'm turning it over to you. Do you need to share you want to share the screen or share any pictures?
Yeah, I'd love to share the screen.
Okay, it's all yours.
All right, let's get this going here. Hang on one sec. Stand by, stand by. All right, can you see that screen? All righty. So my name is Bryn Coriell, and this is my craft talk. I have 10 minutes, so I'm going to see if I can squeeze it all in here because I have a lot to share. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about my childhood, my family, my education and careers, some service and volunteer work, and why Rotary. So I was born in Arcata in 1976. My parents are Tom and Melly Coriell. I have one brother, Stein Coriell. And my parents purchased a 200-acre ranch near Denny in Trinity County in 1972. And I spent a majority of my childhood there. We named the valley out there Five Waters Ranch. And for a while I thought I had about 300 family members until I realized it was actually just 4 of us. But I kind of grew up in this circle of beautiful humans when I was a kid. I was raised to be an experiential learner, and one of the best ways to do that is to get dirty. Work was always part of my life. I was feeding the goats at a very young age and always observing my dad doing whatever he was doing. I was encouraged to follow my passions and to be open-minded to any and all new experiences. And we didn't own a TV till I was 13, so we often had to be our own superheroes. It wasn't uncommon to find me in hand-me-down clothing, like the shirt in this school picture. This is me and my brother, probably 2 years apart, you know, school picture, exact same t-shirt. Mine's a little more faded when I had it. But let's see, all right. At 10 years old, I had the privilege of attending a peacekeeping mission to Siberia with my grandmother, Edith Eckert, and the Center for Creative Peacemaking. This planted a seed for wanting to see more of the world. At 13 years old, my family of 4 moved from Arcata to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I spent the next 5 years working on getting back to California. But I did actually learn to love Pittsburgh. I drove across the United States 3 times. My brother and I would fly back solo to stay with my aunt and uncle here for the summer. When I was as young as 13, back in those days, you know, 2 kids could just go rampaging through airports unattended, but we'd often run away from the handlers so we could make our next flight. I even, at 16 years old, I rode the Greyhound bus from San Jose to Pittsburgh, nonstop, solo. It was a 5-day trip. That really opened my eyes to a lot of the world. I was very active in my youth in the outdoors. I was into rock climbing, sailing, mountain biking, downhill mountain unicycling, backpacking, and peak bagging. So it's a picture of rock climbing, being in the Bahamas on a trimaran. We climbed Mount Whitney. That was fun in the snow. And then just a lot of backpacking and stuff like that. After college at UC Santa Cruz, I realized that to maintain these interests and based out of Humboldt, I would need some income. So I jokingly refer to these as my corporate sponsors. I have an undergrad degree in environmental science, and I worked at the UC Santa Cruz Arboretum for the 4 years I was there. But when I came back to Humboldt, I was kind of trying to figure out what to do. So I ended up taking a job with Michael Christian at American Hydroponics. We built systems for the hobby market in Humboldt, but we also designed and built systems for large-scale agriculture and sold them all over the world. And so that was pretty cool to do in my early 20s. Within 3 years there, I was director of operations and then was in charge of the production of all these components. I decided I wanted to do some more exploring of the world, so I left that and traveled. And then I got an EMT certification, and I worked for a couple of years with Wendy Ring for the mobile medical unit, and we would provide you know, medical services to low-income families and homeless people in Humboldt County. I did that for a couple of years, and then I kind of honestly got kind of burned out on that, as you can imagine. But I ended up moving over to Haliyashi Jewelry, and I worked there for about 6 years, and I did everything from marketing to sales. I was, assisted the owners directly, and eventually took on a role as production manager, where I had like 50 employees and basically ran the whole supply side of the company. So that was kind of through the tail end of my 20s. During that time, I continued to explore, kind of basing off the Siberia experience, and traveled and just really enjoyed that period in my life. So these are most of the places I've explored, most of the countries. I included the Galapagos Islands on here, even though it's not a country, because that really was probably had one of the strongest impacts on my life in terms of visiting. So mainly Western Europe, and then also some South America. But I really I'm really lucky to have gotten to these places. Here's some of the pictures of traveling. I always had my brother there with me. He and I were real good friends, still are. And so that was some epic adventures. I was still living the bachelor lifestyle very much, and and then all of a sudden I met Jennifer. So that was basically, we went on a couple of adventures together, and then I was smitten, and it was love at first sight. We got married less than a year later. And I'm always one to have a 5-year plan and had a vision to wife and kids by 35 years old. So that's what we did. We had a bunch. We have 3 kids. Let's see, what else? We bought a house, and I moved from Haliyashi up to HSU, got a master's degree in education, started training public school teachers. And so the couch surfing of my youth and my world adventures took on a new meaning, but we still have fun. Couch surfing is just different these days. After 8 years at HSU, I was kind of looking for a new outlet and decided to get a real estate license. My brother and I had bought some rental properties 15 years ago and had been doing property management for our own on the side the whole time. Real estate seemed like a natural transition, and in 2018, I had the opportunity to get a broker's license and buy Coldwell Banker Sellers Realty. So I did that, and now that's where I am now. It feels like a great fit in my life for this phase. Along the way, I've been involved in service and volunteer work. So with my EMT license, I volunteered with Jaw Med and Reggae on the River and Sierra Nevada World Music Fest and some other events. So that was some real eye-opening experience over those 10 years. I'm currently a pack leader for the Cub Scouts for Pack 95. And my middle child, Caden, is moving into Boy Scouts here this summer, basically. And then as a realtor broker, I'm on the Multiple Listing Service Committee and on the board of directors for the Humboldt Association of Realtors. So that's kind of, the board of directors is a fairly new position for me there, and that'll be exciting to kind of expand on that experience. So why Rotary? Why now? I say why not? I've always said I'll try anything once, right? But seriously, I think it's time. I've settled down. I have a lovely family. I own a challenging and rewarding business, and I'm ready to give back. I feel like I've seen the world. I like being a part of a community, and I'm deeply rooted in Humboldt. Rotary has a vision that resonates with me, and this Arcata Sunrise Club, from what I can tell, is the best club in existence. I'm excited to be involved with the United Group to take action and create lasting change. And I want to better our community and inspire the next generation to have similar experiences that I've been able to have, which I realize are quite privileged. I'm really, recognizing that. But I want to remind everyone to never let your inner child grow up. We still go backpacking, river rafting, and sew our own Halloween costumes. And finally, I just feel like if we all work together, we can truly bring change to this world, just as the elders around me did when I was little. Thank you.
Wonderful. Boy, lots of stuff there. You're right. It was to get it into the time. But wonderful, remarkable. We are glad that you chose us. And we're glad you chose Jennifer and she chose you. And thank you. That was wonderful.